This is the #1 Mace PvP player in all of Minecraft, until he just recently got banned. Not because he was caught cheating, there's plenty of evidence of that. What actually transpired was the single greatest conspiracy in Minecraft history, a coordinated effort amongst a small group of people to infiltrate the PvP community, cheat their way to the very top using fake personas, like pretending to be a girl, to fool everyone and extract tens of thousands of dollars every single month. And the people of the Minecraft PvP community finally exposed it all. This is the insane true story of Minecraft's greatest conspiracy and how it all finally came crashing down. What you need to understand is Rappture was accused of cheating months ago. Literally over 7 months ago, the YouTuber Young Nightmare would release this video officially calling him out for hacking, and he brought to light a lot of the initial findings that genuinely exposes Rappture. We'll go into more detail on each of these, but essentially he documents Rappture's abrupt appearance into the community out of nowhere, how he instantly started rising the ranks to the very top at an impossible rate, caught some extremely sus moments, bringing to light multiple other people calling him out for the same thing. Rappture was literally demoted to subhuman in the LT3+ community, and when pressed with all of these accusations, Rappture would literally claim that energy drinks just made him play out of his mind. Wow. I guess he's got the best gaming chair and energy drink combo, we just can't comprehend it. And even more stuff we're gonna talk about. But the craziest thing about this is, again, nothing happened after all of this. But it's all gonna make sense once you realize how big of a conspiracy there is. So first of all, who is Rappture? Well, he's the #1 ranked Mace PvP player. It was undisputed. Everyone thought of him as the best. Period. He even got ranked above the legendary Alien Overdose. He also became a member of the staff pretty much instantly after he joined the community and without even messaging in the Discord. It's safe to say Rappture was an icon in the community, highly respected and the best of his category. But for those of you who know more about this situation, was a fake identity. So who is Rappture really? Well, it came to light through multiple investigations thanks to the people of the community, like Shark, Gunham, that Rappture is actually a player from the old Anarchy server.
A player by the name of WhiteDucker00 joined the server 2B2T on Pocket Edition. What many of you must know is WhiteDucker007 was one of the most hated players to ever join 2B2TPE. This guy would end up selling out a lot of bases he made in the clans he was involved in, which eventually led on to people really hating him on the server. Ducker would also be known for his alts, which he used to incite many groups and would be used to manipulate a player by the name of Maxi in order to get up on the server.
Later, he would rebrand to HideXL after the map reset to completely change his personality and branding, but his behavior only got worse.
He pretended to be a 12-year-old girl under the name of Cave Cider and spent 9 months trying to get into their base just to get barely anything. They even went as far as to change their own sleep schedule to seem like he's in another time zone. HideXL was literally known as one of the biggest degenerates ever in the community, constantly speaking his mind on doing inappropriate things and just being a disgusting individual overall.
Now, the reason this is so close to the Marlow situation is because people put together, through a bunch of evidence and circumstantial evidence all piling together, that they are convinced Marlow and Rappture are in on it together, both infiltrating the community into some of the highest positions possible. Now let's talk about Rappture's suspicious rise in MCTiers. You see, in March of 2025, Rappture would just appear in the server with zero PvP history, no history at all really, and within weeks had already hit high tier 3, starting to beat really established players 4-1. Soon after, MCTiers would make a kit update, nerfing the Elytra and Pearls, and these are changes that would disadvantage everyone across the board, especially people playing legitimately, but not Rappture.
The real prodigy moment, however, happened when Marlow updated the kit to nerf Elytra and Pearls. After this, Rappture opened in low tier 2 ticket and proceeded to 4-0 basically everyone, moving on to the high tier 1s in the end. In this last fight, he dismantled Alien Overdose with a score of 4-0 after supposedly getting screen shared and hand cammed by Jai Guy.
If you didn't catch that or aren't fully in the loop, Jagai is the owner of PvP Club, and as we're about to get into, he is completely in on this. But Rappture kept ascending the ranks.
In his tier 1 test against Marlow though, the gameplay didn't just look good, it looked programmed.
So let's take a look at Rapture's tier testing and go over the evidence because it is bad. And to further illustrate that, let's quickly understand the mechanics of the Mace PvP game mode. Mace PvP's uniqueness obviously comes down to the fact that you use the mace as the primary weapon, along with using wind charges to launch yourself and the elytra as well. The main idea of the game is to smash attack your opponents, causing more damage the faster you go, and you don't take any fall damage when you hit with the mace. This also allows for a special technique called stun slamming. This is where you pull out your axe, hit your opponent's shield to disable it, then you pull out your mace for a brutal smash attack. This is all done within one tick, making it extremely hard to do consistently. So now that you understand some of the basics, let's take a look at Rapture's gameplay. It starts off pretty standardly, introducing that this is their tier 1 fight with Marlow, the overall #1 Minecraft PvPer in the world. Now things looked ordinary enough, but the community would identify 2 main moments during this video that looked extremely sus and pretty much just not possible. The first instance was nearly halfway into the video when Rappture does this.
Here, we see the craziest stun breach combo possible, even though the wind charge particles are blocking all signs of Marlow using a shield. The weirdest part is that he doesn't stop to think, but goes from breach to stun to breach, with everything being done within one tick.
That was only the first extremely sus moment of this video. Literally just a few moments later in this same video, Rappture would have an inexplainable pearl lock. If we slow this down even further, you can see that he sees Marlow on the screen flying. He switches his camera view and has no visuals whatsoever, but the second he turns his camera back around to look where Marlow is, his tracking is perfectly tracking the Ender Pearl. And again, at this point, he didn't even know Marlow threw it. And maybe you're sitting here thinking, oh, well, Rappture has really good skills. Maybe he has really good aim and tracking. Maybe that energy drink really has him in the zone. But let's play this back full speed. If you're someone who understands this deeply, you know that there is definitely not enough time to spot this, visually process it, and then act accordingly and aim on it perfectly. His aim just completely centered on the Ender Pearl, and that brings us to our next point. This is something that just happens constantly with his gameplay. Don't believe me? This YouTuber put a red line over Rapture's gameplay, his tier testing, and it is perfectly centered the entire time. If you're anyone who plays competitive games like this, you know this is extremely unordinary and this just doesn't happen. But now here's where things get absolutely diabolical, because believe it or not, there's even more evidence that I could go through, but I would just be here literally all day. But of course, this caught the attention of the admins, the mods, and the owners of this entire operation. Everyone's saying that this player's cheating, so of course they started to do their due diligence to find out the truth. One of the first instances of this would be the mod Flametex, who is the first person you will actually see convinced that Rappture is cheating. And when he made Rappture screen share with him, things got even weirder.
Can you try your best to breach help though, please? Try your best for it.
Rappture could not perform any of his signature moves. Rappture was known for these moves, known for hitting it every single time.
In SMP, Rappture is more blatant than ever before. Enough to the point where I'd put it on my life that he's cheating. He's never hit a shield in a test unless there's an external factor such as lag. To prove this, I analyzed his test with Freaky Fang, in which Rappture miraculously hit Freaky's shield a total of 0 times.
We're talking about supposedly the greatest mechanical player of all time. All of a sudden, when they're getting screen shared, they literally cannot do it a single time. Of course, this makes no sense and raised a bunch of eyebrows to everyone except the people who actually could ban him. Not only was the level of curiosity from the owners just shockingly not there, they would actually argue against the moderators like Flametex who thought Rappture was cheating, coming up with any justification or excuse they could possibly think of. I really recommend you go watch Shark's entire video on it because he shows like all of the Discord messages and they're just insane to read. But it became pretty apparent that the people who were supposed to be in charge of cheating had already made their mind and were working backwards to justify the conclusion instead of the opposite, looking at the evidence and forming an opinion from that. Well, especially Jai Guy, the owner of PvP Club, he just chalked this up to Rappture having nerves and maybe lag. And you know, the moment the screen share ended, Rappture was back to his godlike skills of hitting everything, and they thought this was completely normal, you know, yeah. After this, Rappture would fail another screen share after fighting Crazy Crafter. Multiple staff members would conclude that there was now enough evidence to assume that Rappture was playing with an unfair advantage, and it was basically case closed. But then one player stuck their neck out for Rappture and said it was insufficient proof. That player was Marlow. And crazily enough, the only screen share Rappture has ever passed where everything looked normal was when he was being screen shared by one person. And that person was Jai Guy. That's right. Jai Guy just said, basically, trust me, boys. He's legit. I watched him. It's all good. Oh man. It was becoming clear that Jai Guy, Marlow, and Rappture knew each other very well. And that brings us to the fact that the players in the community started to find a lot of evidence of this as well.
HideXL met Danger Mario in a server called Elite Anarchy. This server would essentially be the server that Danger Mario ran that would be a massive IP logger server. HideXL would constantly ban Danger Mario until eventually they became friends. These two players ended up being so close that they would even go on to create a team called Anti-Cheat, where they would hack on servers like 2B2T together. Years passed, and HideXL and Danger Mario would be very close, meeting up in real life and then playing together. By Danger Mario doing all the talking and getting Rappture out of the ban, he was easily able to con High Tier 1 illegitimately. Since HideXL is close friends with Danger Mario, the same person who was able to get away with thousands of dollars from cheating to be the #1 player. Danger Mario would have been the brains of the operation, and Rappture simply just had to be the hands.
Jai Guy, Marlow, and Rai, the new owner of MCTiers, would have to consistently ignore all new incoming evidence that Rappture was cheating, or just straight up ban anyone who brings it up. The player who exposed much of this, Shark Lounge, would literally have this happen to him.
Hello everyone, Shark Lounge here. So I was recently questioned by a lot of people about my ban in Learns and MCTiers. For MCTiers, I got banned because I leaked a screenshot which leaked that Rappture was getting investigated. So to put it short, it's December 2025 and Rappture had a lot of tickets open on him about him hacking, and I had one of those tickets open. And Marlow told me, I'll put the screenshot up, but Marlow told me that Rappture is being investigated, which is a total lie, but it leaked that Rappture was getting investigated, and I announced that in my public server. Kind of stupid of me, I'm not gonna lie, but it's kind of ridiculous that I'm still banned for destructive behavior. I don't know why I'm still banned. Like, I tried to appeal. They said I need overseers to do my appeal. And I asked 2 overseers, one of them ghosted me, but the other one just told me they have no clue what's going on and they don't know when I can appeal. So yeah, that's why I'm banned off both tier lists. Hopefully I'll be back in MCTiers. I really doubt it because it seems like they don't really like me for exposing Rappture.
Now this is where things would really get interesting, because this is around the time all of the entire Marlow scandal would finally come to light, and Marlow would completely start to lose the good graces of the community. There was nothing more Marlow could do to save themselves. But even after all of this, the allegations against Rappture starting over 7 months ago, countless people calling him out, even more evidence dropping every single month since, even after all of this, even after Marlow was banned, Rappture was still not and was prominently still rank 1. It wasn't until all of this overwhelming evidence in the community putting pressure on it specifically that they would have to fold, right? Well, they didn't. Rai, the new owner of MCTiers, who was given ownership from Marlow, refused to ban or hold Rappture accountable for all of this. Let's just say a lot of the staff and the players were not happy with this decision and pretty much decided to resign or leave entirely. Only now would Rai finally put out a message and ban Rappture. It's safe to say that there is still massive corruption going on there. One of the main things that circulates my mind right now is, if there's still this much corruption in the MCTiers ladder, what's stopping them from creating new accounts and trying to pull this all again? Of course, I think the community is going to be much more hyper vigilant this time, but controlling the entire server, controlling who gets to speak up, who gets a voice, that creates a really big power imbalance, and it seems like much of the community is completely moving away from MCTiers. So I want to know what you think. Is this the craziest conspiracy ever pulled in Minecraft? Because I just don't know what could beat this. Drop a like and subscribe, and maybe even hype the video if you enjoyed. This is probably going to be my last video on the subject, unless even more information comes out, but like there's no way, right? If you want to know more about the entire Marlow cheating scandal, you should watch my videos on the subject right here.